Good morning. This is Aloha. This is Science of Mind Saturday at CSL in Kauai, and we'd like to begin our presentation today with Reverend Diane Decker doing a prayer. Thank you.
Good morning. Let's all just take a breath and settle into this time we have together, knowing that there is only one thing going on, and it is this thing called God. Infinite presence, in and through everything. I know that there is only one life, one power, one presence, and it is in this place, it is in me, it is expressing through me and each person here. Knowing that we are intimately connected with the source of all that is, I know that all that God is, peace, love, joy, abundance, well-being, all of these qualities of God are right where I am. And so in this moment, I revel in that and know that this day is a blessing filled with those qualities of God. I give thanks for this time together, knowing that each one of us is blessed and a blessing to each one. I give thanks for the love that is moving in and through each person here today. I give thanks for the wisdom and clarity that is moving in and through the presenters. I give thanks for all the good that is coming forth today to nourish us, to enliven us in our faith, and to bring forth the ever-present qualities of God in a way that they have not been seen before. We are here, folks, and we are here on purpose. And so I give thanks for this time. I know that it is a blessing and that it is done in the mind of God in all perfection. And so I give thanks for that. With a grateful heart, I release my word to the law of mind and spirit, allowing it to come forth in its own right and perfect way. We watch with wonder as it does so. And so it is. Mahalo. This one's broken, so it might need a new battery.
This isn't moving. Is there, am I supposed to turn this on? Something? Oh, that's good, because I wouldn't have remembered my name. So I've been asked to speak on the history of New Thought, but I want to let you know I've kind of emphasized the herstory of New Thought, that we have lots of women that were involved with that, and because our history has traditionally been sort of slanted toward men, I'm doing my part to slant it toward women, and even Native American and folks of color. So I'm going to be speaking about the New Thought movement, and this is it's quite a map here, but just to take you on a little stroll around it, this blue cloud over here is what they call the philosophers and theologians that were involved in it, and this lighter blue cloud over here were the healers that were in there. And Jesus kind of is in the corner because he kind of is in both. But I want to let you know that this new thought, came from prehistory wisdom. So, the new part was, it was new to the Puritan societies of America at the time, but this prehistory wisdom, also included all the matriarchal societies and the folks that did Stonehenge and basically everything that happened before 1200 BC. Just because they weren't writing doesn't mean they weren't thinking. And maybe they thought, how primitive is writing? Because who knows what was going on back then. But And so there were folks from, the ancient Greeks, the folks Hinduism from India, Buddhism, and then the healers were that they kind of brought in were ones that were more recent ones from Europe and that sort of thing. And then they all kind of come together down here with Emma Curtis Hopkins. Mary Baker, we have a Nona Brooks, Myrtle, Emily, Melinda. So there's a lot of women, once all these kind of came into here, that this filtered through in this new thought. So I'm just going to pick a few of the people that came down into that. And I'm going to start with Ralph Waldo Emerson. So, and to just give you a little bit about what exactly is New Thought first. There was an organization called the Metaphysical Club of Boston, founded in 1895, that eventually became the International New Thought Alliance, and it's still active today, and its purpose is to promote the interest in the practice of a true philosophy of life and happiness, and to show that through right thinking, one's loftiest ideals may be brought into the present realization, and to advance intelligent and systematic treatment of disease by spiritual and mental methods. So, even though there are slight differences in these eventual branches that came off of New Thought, the thing that remains the same in all of them is that the principles that the divine is present in everyone and everything, and that there is a law of cause and effect that responds to our minds, and that spiritual truth is universal and it belongs to everyone. There's no authority or intermediary. It's all within us. And just to give you an idea about what was happening in America at this time and how unusual these thoughts were in the later 1800s, the Civil War had just ended. And the politicians were busy debating, should they have black men vote now, or should they have the Confederate men vote? Of course, no one was asking about the women voting, except for the women. They were fending off of that on their own. And then most Americans at that time lived in either on farms or in small towns, and Prohibition was still in effect. And even though the construction of the railroad was opening up to this expansive West, the puritanical ethics were still the norm for the majority, as you will see in the outfits. And but New Thought was started penetrating bit by bit, mostly in the cities that were very swiftly growing. That's my little. How cute. Now that's a new thought. Okay, there we all right. Okay, so I'm going to be speaking to you about Ralph Waldo Emerson, who had the belief, once you make a decision, the universe conspires to make it happen. This is, definitely one of the new thoughts. And he was one of the first non-Native Americans. I just want to be clear about that because I'm sure that the Native Americans had a lot of thoughts like this, and especially about the divinity also not only being in people, but in nature. And that's why Ralph Waldo Emerson had that strong stance on environmental conservation. And he fought for women's rights, Native American rights, and any other non-white rights. So I was, proud of him for that. And what I love about Emerson is that he encouraged me when I first read him to not be influenced by the thoughts in other people's minds, but to only realize that the thoughts in my mind, it was what was important because it created my reality. And that he wrote these great memes before there even was a meme, or at least before I knew about them. Let's see. Oh, I think I might have turned it off. That's it. Okay. Love is a perfume you cannot pour onto others without getting a few drops on yourself. And oops. Sorrow looks back, worry looks around. I like that one. And faith looks up. And he even wrote a bumper sticker. Be silly, be honest, be kind. So I appreciate that on this slide, he admits that his Aunt Mary, who was his father's sister, because his father died when he was 5, she financially supported the family and was his muse. And it was actually her writing. He says that her writing was purely original, rich and profound, and that he believed that she was the best writer in Massachusetts, but he borrowed images and subjects and even full sentences that he used in his works. So, but at the time, women couldn't really be credited for these things. So I bet she was just glad that her new thoughts got out there. And another influential woman in his life was Louisa May Alcock. And I love this little thing that, so of course, books were so important to him. And when his library was burning down and she went to see him, and she said the firelight was on his strong, sweet face, and she endeavored to express her sympathy for the loss of his most valued possessions. But he answered cheerily, "Never mind, Louisa. See what a beautiful blaze they make." We will enjoy that now. So I loved, he was living in the moment. And when the first Burning Man festivals or whatever. So given how most men thought and treated women in those days, I'll end my talk about Emerson with this, my now favorite quote from him. "The age of a woman does not mean a thing. The best tunes are played on the oldest fiddles." Not that that has much to do with New Thought, but I appreciated it. So the next person I'm going to talk about is Mary Baker Eddy. She, in the latter part of her long life, started Christian Science, and which today you might know is a huge religion worldwide, and the Christian Science Monitor, which she got 7 Pulitzer Prizes. So she came up with that newspaper because she did what they call the yellow journalism of the day. I had to look that up. It means that it's the tabloids of the day. we're hurting folks. So she came up with something that her motto was to not harm any person and to make sure that all humanity was loved. So how she discovered this idea of the healing that happens is she was sick herself. And so she ended up coming up with ended up promoting the ideas that disease is an experience of the so-called mortal mind. It is fear made manifest on the body. And health is, I'm not going to read everything here, but health is not a condition of matter, but of mind. And that true prayer is not asking God for love. It is learning to love and include all mankind in one affection. Prayer is the utilization of love, wherein we are loved. And so Emma Curtis Hopkins, she originally came to the folks at Christian Science for a healing because she also was a sick person, was afflicted with something. And I love the second part of this quote. "All that you favor prospers if you have learned to spend all your vacant moments silently whispering, 'I am good.'" I love Patrick, or Reverend Patrick, says, it's really, life is about learning to love ourselves more. So I thought that was good. So Emma had amazing accomplishments. She started a college, first of all, and then she had 17 branches of the Hopkins Metaphysical Association across the country. She was voted the honorary first president of the International New Thought Alliance, and she taught over 50,000 people. She was ordaining women as ministers, and she believed that people, 30 years before they could vote, she was helping them to be ministers. So at least they might not have been able to vote, but at least they could get in front of people and say things. So that was good. And she had a unique approach to teaching. She insisted that her students already knew everything she was telling them. So it wasn't just a matter of learning, but remembering the spiritual instinct that is born within us. And she encouraged students to find their own words to express the things and form their own practice and schools. Some people who, like Mary Baker Eddy, she definitely kept tight reins on the whole Christian Science thing. And Emma was like, no, this needs to get out. And she said, take these teachings and open your own church or your own, ordain your own ministers in whatever way you are called by infinite presence. And she felt equal to her students because all were the expression of God. She thought it was more important was the teaching and not the teacher, and that once the movement was off the ground, she quit her schools and churches and closed up shop and went traveling. So a gal after my own heart. Now this is actually a couple, Myrtle and Charles. They started the Unity branch of New Thought, and what I love about this was Reverend Coleman. After being told she only had 6 months to live, a young African American woman named Johnny Coleman traveled from Chicago to Unity Village, Missouri, seeking answers. Not only would she discover that perfect health was her birthright, as natural as the air she breathed, but she enrolled in the cemetery and became an ordained Unity minister, and she broke racial and gender barriers along the way, and she ended up with a mega ministry worthy of her title as the New Thought Pioneer. So I think that's really nice, and that she also, I'm going to get to the right page. In the Unity Church division, they believed that there is one source and creator of everything, that we are spiritual beings and all inherently good, and that we create our life experiences through our way of thinking, and that there is power in affirmative prayer, which can increase a person's connection to spirit, and that the knowledge of spiritual principles is not enough, but that we must live them. So even though this is kind of just a brief summary, like I said, of some of the things, it's all I have. And now we are because we had to keep it to 10 minutes, and it's hard to do like a whole history of everything. But there are many more, people, as you saw in the map, that are we're also involved in it. And I didn't do any of the actual healers, but a lot of things kind of came together for this whole thing. It wasn't like any one person or whatever, made it happen. So now we're going to do something a little fun. I get to gong the gong. So people are like, well, do you gong the gong or do the buzzer when somebody guesses the answer correct or wrong? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just having fun. So we're going to do a little game show part. And you can just toss out the answers, what you think. I promise I won't gong you. And we have prizes. So you don't actually get the prize for guessing the answer right or wrong. It's kind of like how I like to play games. I'm highly competitive, but I really don't care who wins. But there will be prizes, and so at the end of each little section that we're doing, we'll play the game. And then I'll pick, each one of us will pick a number. Yeah, make sure you got your numbers in there. And then the prizes are back with Reverend Rita. So after, there, at the entrance, you should have gotten a little ticket like this. Yeah, I mean, I should have a half a ticket here. Oh, do you have the other half of your ticket? You should have gotten.
Sorry, I stuck them both in the. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I just tore it.
Yeah. Well. Oh, here it is. This one. That's a different
Thank you.
one. Okay. All gone. Okay. Okay. So the first. Okay. So the first question. Does New Thought believe we are all divine? Yeah. Congratulations. Okay. According to New Thought, is it true what the young folks are all saying now? Is it all good? Yes. Woo. All right. All right. Next question. Were women influential in New Thought? Yes. Yay. And the last question, do women get more beautiful as they age? Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So now for the ticket.
And you get, does everyone remember Michael and Feren? And you're a magnificent little fool.
All right. So the first number is 081252. 1252. And if, yeah. Do you have that one? Woohoo! All right. Well, I'll keep. So go to Reverend Rita. All right. Okay, and I would like to introduce our next practitioner and trainee, Jamie Prem.
Thank you, DJ. All right. How's everybody doing? Beautiful. Thank you for supporting us today and coming here to engorge in this wonderful spiritual food. I'm here to talk about what is the science of mind. Now, DJ did a great job of talking about the evolution of the New Thought movement. And most likely, like myself, upon walking in these doors for the first time, you might be thinking to yourself, what is exactly this science of mind? Let's start at the beginning. Let's talk about the founder of religious science, which is now known as the science of mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes. So Dr. Holmes was a writer, a teacher. He was a spiritual leader. He was called the eternal question mark. He definitely would attest that he is not a revelator, but instead a synthesizer. He gathered information from faiths throughout the world and over time and wrote many, many books, including the Science of Mind text, which is featured here and at our bookstore if you would like a copy. And wrote our Science of Mind text, which we use today. He also founded the Science of Mind magazine, which is also still in print today. He was a renowned speaker, drawing crowds of over 2,000 people to his Sunday services. Can you imagine? Like, beautiful. He was greatly influenced by many of the people that DJ had spoken about, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Emma Curtis Hopkins, Thomas Troward. And he is part of the reason why we are all here today. So this amazing book, The Science of Mind, he describes it as a philosophy, a faith, a way of life. Dr. Holmes said that the heart longs as a hungry man longs for bread, for spiritual food. It longs for that which will make it whole. And I think that is what our teaching can do. It can reveal the self, capital self, to the self. So the capital self being the greater universe and the self to us here on our level. So that's a little bit of what Dr. Holmes says about the science of mind. Now, when I was thinking about the science of mind, I really had not an easy time contemplating this whole philosophy, way of life. So I could definitely understand it as a philosophy. Now, Oxford Language Dictionary describes philosophy as the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, of reality, of existence. Now, that's exactly what the science of mind is a way to understand and study fundamental truths about oneself, the world in which we live, and our relationship to the world, to one another, and to creation. It also describes philosophy as a theory or attitude held by a person or organization that acts as a guiding principle for behavior. Well, then definitely, yes. The science of mind is a way of life. It uses a set of principles, universal principles, that divine principles that are guides to live by. So definitely, the science of mind is a philosophy in which ideas and ideals are brought together into a system of concepts about God, concepts about the cosmos, about humanity, and about human possibilities. Well, when thinking of what is the science of mind, I mean, clearly in the name, it's a science. So the Oxford Language Dictionary defines a science as a systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject. Well, absolutely. Dr. Holmes does describe it as an anthology. It's the best parts of various sects of spirituality from throughout the world, throughout time. And it's a culmination of his learnings and his experiments and our learnings and our experiments and our experiences. So the Oxford Language Dictionary states that science is a systematic study of the structure and behavior of the physical and natural world through observation and experiment. And the science of mind is exactly that. It certainly is all about experimenting with universal principles, proving them through demonstration or observable changes within our lives. Changes with money, changes with health, changes with love and relationships, changes with our creativity. So there always seems to be this battle between science and religion, not here, but in other areas. But you can see that it definitely is based on empirical evidence. There is experimentation. It definitely is a science. Now, science of mind is a religion. It is, according to the Oxford Language Dictionary, a system of faith. Now, I know we're talking about the God word, but it is definitely a system of faith that incorporates the ancient wisdom of the ages. It is founded in many of the faith traditions from around the world. It is also a pursuit of interests to which someone ascribes supreme importance. Now, I think the science of mind is of utmost importance. It offers principles for living and spiritual tools to transform your life and to make the world a better place. So, science of mind is a religion in which we explore and teach universal principles that define the spiritual nature of the universe in our relation to God. So, and this is just the New Thought Family Tree, which is a little bit what DJ was talking about, but the different religions within New Thought. You can see the transition from where Christian Science, which is not considered part of the New Thought movement, but it is heavily influential, Unity, Divine Science, all of these different sects of New Thought. So as we can see, based off the Oxford Language Dictionary, science of mind brings together philosophy, science, and religion. It is a way of understanding God that helps meet our daily needs. It is a system of reasoning that doesn't fight science, and it is a fulfillment of spiritual longing. I talked a lot about universal principles or divine principles. Now, what is a principle exactly? A principle is a truth or a law which has been proven infallible, meaning it works without exception, and it is impersonal, so it works for everyone alike. Gravity, electricity, for example, it works whether we use it or not. And here are some of our beliefs, or what science of mind believes. So Science of Mind believes that believes in one power, one living spirit that expresses through all creation and is the unity of all life. We believe that the kingdom of heaven is within, and we experience this kingdom through our conscious awareness of it. We believe our thought is creative, and how we choose to think creates our personal experience. We believe in the eternal goodness, the eternal lovingness, kindness, and the eternal givingness of all. So what can Science of Mind do for you? It can give you insights into your own inherent nature, start you on an intelligent, purposeful use of the creative power of your mind that will move you into a satisfying and fulfilling experience of life. And it can provide you an opportunity to take responsibility for the quality of life, your quality of life. You are free to choose. So, yeah, that's heaven. And within, exactly. It is now. And it is game show time again. All right. So, I know we have some really tough questions here. What is the purpose of Science of Mind? Is it A, to explore a new view of reality? B, to provide opportunities to experience a new reality? C, to provide an opportunity to take responsibility for the quality of your life? Or D, all of the above? Let me hear it! Woo! D! All right, next question. I know these are really tough, guys. Really tough. What is the science of mind? A study of the principle of being the source or cause from which a thing results. B, a religion, a science, and a philosophy. C, a way to change your life. Or D, all of the above. D. Oh, you guys were paying attention. All right. And finally, which of these are divine principles? A, God is everywhere. God is everything. B, the law of cause and effect. C, the power of the mind. D, all of the above. Woo! You're an awesome audience. Thank you, everybody. And now we will call another winner.
This is the opportunity to buy that Science of Mind book at 20% off.
So we got a 20% off gift certificate to the Center for Spiritual Living Kauai's bookstore. And the winner is number 081246. All right, Glenn, woohoo! Congratulations! And now, I'd like to introduce Miss Peggy Jerry, who will talk about how it all works.
Props. Okay.
Hey, let's have that as a door prize.
Hello. Thank you so much for all being here to support us. We really, really appreciate it. I know I do. And what I'm talking about today is the creative process. You have learned from DJ and from Jamie about what it is and where it came from, and I'm going to show you how to use it. So the creative process, I'm going to bring your attention to the front of the mural here. This symbol kind of represents the creative process. It is the symbol that is used for the foundation of the teachings of Science of Mind. It began with it's a model for the religious science. The symbolism, and this is where I'm going to use my prop so that everybody can see. It's all good. The purple represents the circle, which is a representation of all the energy, the power of, and they use God, because God is not just around the circle, but it is everywhere in everything, experiencing our life and fulfilling us in every way. This unbroken circle is a beginning, shows that there's no beginning and there's no end, and that an intelligence, love, peace is with all of us. It's within all of us. And the top part of the circle here is where universal spirit is, conscious mind, the absolute, the word. This is the first cause is all here. And in the middle section is represented as the universal subjective mind, or where the law is, the soul. And this is where the creative medium descends from the spirit into a form, into a result. The lower part is the physical manifestation of the spirit. It comes in a way of a form or an effect or a condition or a human experience. The middle part where the silver triangle is, that is where the law is. This is where the very interesting part of the law. The law is where spirit passes through. It is the action of the law. It has obedience. There's no judgment. There's no questions. It just does what is coming from spirit. And this spirit is coming from the thought, your own thought, how you create this. You create your life by moving your thought and your intentions through the law. And your thoughts can be positive thoughts, creating positive results. But your thoughts can also be of a negative nature. And because law has no judgment and no conditions, it will create a negative situation. Will continually repeat in your life. You wonder why isn't things working out? Because you have to begin with that positive thought, and then you have to feed that positive thought through the law. We always think of ourselves separated from God rather than maybe one with it. But our words, our thoughts are the vehicles that move this idea through the law, and the language of the thought lies in our feelings and our emotions and our expressions. Our words only have as much power and as the feeling that we put into this. This is the eternal divine process and the creative medium. And the spirit must manifest in order to express itself. To make this simply, I'll put this down now. Thank you so much, Jamie. And a simple way to explain it is the seed, the soil, and the plant. So the seed starts above. This is our thought, our idea, what it is that we want. And we want to always make this a positive thought. And as we drop that positive thought into the law, that law without judgment will create a positive result. What happens sometimes when there is negative ideas or beliefs in what other people say, opinions, social media, when we're not trusting our own self, that the negative thought will drop into the wall and will create that negative thought to repeat itself. Sometimes you get caught up into a situation where it could be positive, but you are not feeding it the right thought. Just as an example, I'll kind of go to this place of talking about health because that's an area that I'm familiar with. If you have recent visit to the doctor and you might have gotten a diagnosis like there's something starting, there's something that looks like it might be wrong, something's wrong. And if you tell yourself, oh my gosh, that's the stuff, it runs in my family, I know that I'll never be able to get out, it's hereditary, it's happening to me, and you just sort of repeat this process without giving it a positive thought, you will get a negative result. But if you get that diagnosis and you say to yourself, I am whole, I am healthy, I am well, and you drop that thought into law, and that thought, as it's manifesting, you always, every day, start your day with gratitude, with faith and believing all is well, your intuition begins to work with you, giving you messages. Yes, maybe there is something I can do to improve my situation. Maybe I need to walk today. Maybe I need to walk every day. Maybe I need to make different choices in how I live my life. This is all positive. This will give you the positive result. The manifestation doesn't always do what you think it will do. Sometimes you get a message from your intuition that doesn't seem like it's the right thing to do, but this is about your trusting. You're trusting in this law. You're trusting in the faith. You're trusting in your knowingness to direct you in the right way you should go. New ideas, new choices, new visions, dropping into law, it's always going to give you guidance, it's always going to give you direction, and it's always going to give you your highest good results. And I also have a few questions. You know what? I never touched the thing.
She did it for you. She did it for you. She got them all in there.
All right, now I don't have my question. Here we go. So yes. So my quote that really interested me was from Emmett Fox. He has a little booklet called Mental Equivalence, and it was from the Sermon on the Mount. It was that the great law of the universe is just this, that what you think in your mind, you will produce in your experience. So within, so without. And my questions. First question. Okay, I guess I have to get the gong thing out, huh? Okay. How can you change a negative condition into a positive one? Do you wait for it to change on its own? Do you ask God to change it, light candles and burn incense? Or do you change negative thoughts into positive thoughts? Gong it is. And burn incense. How do I know that my positive thoughts are working to create something I want? I pray about it, then wait for something to happen. I have faith, express gratitude daily for knowing it is already done. What you want will show up in a week or two. They all B it is. So we all want C, right? What is the first step in the creative process? The law, that's the soil that creates exactly what I asked for. The result, the plant of my desire, what I want. And the thought, the seed, that is positive. Seed it is. So as you see here, how the seed was planted and the tree of life has begun. You can grow what you want in your life by that positive thought. So now we're going to do the raffle or the.
And what is the prize, Reverend Rita?
The prize is how to use the science of mind.
And the prize is a book, How to Use the Science of Mind. The number is 081240. 1240. Last four numbers.
Must be present to win.
All right, we're going to pick another one. Okay, we'll just do the last four numbers. 1253. So you can give me a number and I'll look in the bowl.
There must be guests here that we don't know.
For those spiritually filled. 53. Okay. All right, we're trying again. Are we trying again, or do we have something there, Sue? Okay. 1255. Very good, excellent. Congratulations, Sharon. Oh, no. Oh, yes. We'll give it away. And our next speaker is Melissa Mojo, and she'll be speaking from New York.
Aloha from the Big Apple. It's cold. So It's really great to see everybody. Can you hear me? Yes. So I'm talking about spiritual mind treatment, which is something that I really love to do. So the first slide, we actually are born perfect. And because we're of spirit, we're of the first cause, we're of source, of God, and that implants perfection in us. And so we are everything and everyone, because we're all part of unity and the wholeness of everything. We're whole, complete, and perfect. And the thing to know is that spirit, there's no opposite to spirit. There's no opposite to wholeness or perfection. What spirit creates cannot be uprooted. There's only love, light, unity, peace, perfection, and all the spiritual principles and law. That's it. It's the human mind that adds imperfection through our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. So, we've sort of been stuck. The next slide, it's not our fault, because we're part of these eons of generations of people who have been living on the earth and on the planet and making the choice way back when to believe in the opposite of wholeness, to sickness and evil and death and all the things that plague, lack, everything that seems to plague the human race. It's actually just collective consciousness's thoughts, and it is actually not reality. So it's kind of like, it's almost like these conditions that are caused by the collective consciousness, it covers up our human perfection. So it's like a statue that's, when it's put outside, it's all shiny and, new and bright, and then the weather starts happening and it starts getting crusty, because we live in a world where we have choice. We can choose to believe in the conditions and the effects of our lives, or we can choose to believe in spiritual perfection, the spiritual perfection that we are. And just really good news, this imperfection is not permanent. Nothing can change who we truly are underneath. We are all eternally shiny, new, and perfect. It's just remembering that. So the spiritual mind treatment is a practice that sees through all conditions and focuses on the truth and perfection within the person. So if someone's doing a spiritual mind treatment, they're not going to focus on the condition of the person coming to them. They're going to just see and know that this person is absolutely perfect and has everything, and they have everything they could possibly need. So tying this into what Peggy was just saying, that through spiritual mind treatment, the practitioner consciously uses the creative process to direct the spiritual laws. So love and abundance and peace, and to reveal the divine nature and heal or change real life conditions. And it's not the practitioner that's doing the healing. It is actually the practitioner knows the truth about the client, and it is the law that changes it. Because it can only say yes. The law can only say yes. So if regularly used and applied to every area of your life, spiritual mind treatment can develop a deeper awareness, an expanded consciousness, and a greater experience of the one infinite reality of God. So it's not just doing it once a week. It's like getting up every day. Thank you for my life. Thank you for everything that I've got. I am perfect, and I am manifesting perfection all the time. So basically what spiritual mind treatment does is it brings heaven to earth. So the practitioner knows that they are one with life and love, and it flows through, and the practitioner knows this for the client, and it flows through them into to the client, and that is when the law takes over and says, oh, okay, this is what I need to do now. I need to, it manifests it. So the spiritual mind treatment reveals our divine nature in 3 ways. First of all, a treatment is an act. It's a conscious activity of mind, of thought. So you have to actually turn your mind to the spiritual principles. It's also an art. So the practitioner must use conviction with feeling and appreciation for the spiritual principles and the spiritual laws, and have that realization during the treatment. And it's also a science because it absolutely produces verifiable results through impersonal, consistent spiritual laws. What you think about happens. You can dream it up, it's going to happen. Okay, so the spiritual mind treatment utilizes threefold nature of God. So it's the creative process, which Peggy just told you about, spiritual laws, and freedom. The freedom to choose what you're going to believe and what you're going to think about. So a spiritual mind treatment is actually an intentional manifestation by the practitioner, and it produces a definite outcome using the law, to bring about a greater good and more abundant life. And it allows us the freedom to create the life we desire. So it's really like a bridge between the spiritual truth of God and the principles and the manifested reality. So you just have to cross that span to transform what you truly want into your reality. It's transforming creation into a reflection of the spiritual truth. So now we're just going to go through, each one of us is going to describe a little bit about the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment. So, who's first?
Me. So important about the spiritual mind treatment that, yes, as practitioners, we can do them for other people, but as people, we can do them for ourselves. Every morning I wake up and I start my day with a spiritual mind treatment. But before you begin your treatment, it's good to have a purpose for your treatment. So you think of what you might want to feel that day, and you can say, oh, so my purpose for today is to feel peaceful or relaxed or whatever it might be. And then the step 1 of the actual treatment is what we call recognition. And it's just a recognition that there is a divine, that there is a one big energy, one first cause, one thing that is in and through us all.
Step 2 is identification, and that is identifying. It's also known as unifying to other areas of the science of mind philosophy. But for our purposes, it is identifying that you are one with God, one with Great Spirit, one with the universe, one with the infinite. You are an individualized aspect of this great power, this one cause, this one everything.
All these steps are shown up above on the lectern here. The 3rd step is realization. That's where I speak the truth about who I am and the truth about the situation. And it is also where the statements are made to change the thought, the negative thought or the condition, to a positive one.
The 4th step is thanksgiving or gratitude. Gratitude is being grateful or acknowledging that which we are talking about, that's what the intention of our treatment is already done. It's already complete, and we are in such thanksgiving and gratitude for that. It's also said that gratitude, being thankful, amplifies our faith and acceptance in the potentialities of spirit. Just gives us more encouragement.
And the 5th step is the release. where the practitioner lets go of the how of
Okay.
how it's going to happen and just trust the creative process, knowing that it is done, and they just let it be. So this is where the practitioner so deeply trusts and believes in the power of their treatment that they stop thinking about it. The treatment is complete. Spiritual work is done. The outcome is already demonstrated in the mind of God. Now all that is left for it is a manifestation in physical form. So the next slide shows that when spoken with conviction and feeling, the law can only say yes to everything that one thinks and desires. And this is the end. We say, and so it is done. So, so basically, there's after a treatment, if you go to a session with a spiritual mind practitioner, the treatment kind of starts the process of mental change away from the negative conditions, and helps, in order for the client to start moving toward an inward feeling of peace, harmony, and perfection. So it's kind of like turning a big oil tanker at sea. It's kind of like you just have to start doing it and adding to it, and eventually you're going to be feeling that peace and harmony. And in order to override the negative beliefs held in our subconscious, which is part of the collective consciousness, we have to really gather the spiritual principles until they become more real than the conditions that contradict them. So I put together a list, and if anybody would like it, I could make it, get it to you. The spiritual truth, and then the negative beliefs. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'm just so mistrustful, well, the spiritual truth to that is faith. So it's always being aware that there's actually no opposite to spiritual truth. It's just the condition that is there that we tend to believe in and takes more precedent over the spiritual truth. But we just have to keep bringing ourselves back to the spiritual truth, because that is the true reality. Okay. So now these are my little questions. So for this one, there's 2 correct answers. Spiritual mind treatment focuses on the truth. And so you can say, yes. Yeah. Collective consciousness.
Yes. No. Do we do this one?
Perfection.
Yes.
Condition.
No.
Spiritual mind treatment is an act.
Yes.
Science.
Yes. Yes.
Process. No process. Act, science, and art. And spiritual mind treatment is the bridge between spiritual truth and God, manifested reality, or collective consciousness. Yes. Thank you.
I'll do the door prize, because I can always pick up the right ticket. The door prize is a book by Greg Braden, Wisdom of the Code. 81249. Our next speaker is Sue Wood. What is a practitioner?
Good morning. I've been talking to California already this morning, so I really don't even know what time zone I'm in. So I'm so happy that all of you have come to support us and to be with us. You're just absolutely amazing and beautiful. So I've been asked or given the privilege of speaking of what is a practitioner. Melissa spoke many times about a practitioner and doing treatment and a practitioner and well, what in the world is a practitioner? According to the dictionary, and I can't tell you which one Siri gave me, it's one who actively engages in an art, discipline, or profession. And it's generally speaking about the medical community. A nurse practitioner, a doctor is a practitioner. So while the medical profession, it does indeed work on the healing of the physical body, and a psychotherapist or some kind of a counselor is going to work on the past wounding and the trauma and the things that have happened to us and how we can get past those. A science of mind licensed practitioner engages in the art of healing our mind. And that's where everything starts, isn't it? We've learned that quite a bit today, that that's where it all starts. Our philosophy says that we live in a universe of cause and effect, and that what we think tends to become the reality we see and experience. Practitioners are guides, spiritual guides, defining the belief systems or the life patterns that have brought about an unwanted condition and an understanding to how we can change our thinking. A practitioner lives from the indwelling spirit and knows with conviction, deep understanding, that God is in everything and ever whole and flowing in right action through all and through everyone. Now, you're all practitioners. If you're here, you've been studying this. We're all practitioners. We're all sharing those deeply held truths that we continue to grow and learn as we come to this center. So my next slide is, how do you get to be a practitioner? Well, just work really hard for a really long time. But what really happens is someone walks through that door. Or in my case, I picked up a book at a bookstore by Louisa Hay, and I went, oh, this resonates with me. This feels just right to me. And I sought out a Science of Mind church in Bakersfield, California. Once you walk in a door or you open your mind to some new thought, thinking, like most of us, we want to know more. So we began to take classes, and there's lots of classes offered at CSL Kauai. Some of them are absolutely fun. Rita, a few years ago, gave a class on improv. I never thought I'd roll on the floor and laugh and act silly. Well, yeah, I act silly. That was a lie. But do some of the things that we were required to do that took a lot of courage and boldness. So some of our classes are just about getting to know each other, about expanding who we are. Flying Solo is a class that's coming up very soon. Ooh, deep look inside of what's happened in your life. If you've never taken that, I highly recommend it. But as we go, we also have accredited classes. What does that mean? That means that there are classes at this center that through our home office you get credit for. And they're kind of like, remember when we went to college and you had to have prerequisite classes before you go into the area of your desire? Those are your accredited classes. And after you take them, they usually take a couple years because you take them as they're offered. It takes a couple of years. And you get to a point where you can say, I have enough units and credits, and my heart is feeling called to go even deeper. I want to be a practitioner. So at that point, you are invited to come in and be a practitioner. We have some amazing people here. They've spent 50 weeks so far in deep study. Every week there's a three-hour class, right? A 3-hour, where we talk, we answer questions, we read hundreds of pages in many books. We discuss, go deeper, deeper, deeper into ourselves that we may be available to you and share with you. After 60 weeks of term papers and homework and testing and passing an oral board in April, there will be a panel, and they'll ask you questions. Do you really know this? Are you really applying these principles to your lives? And then you'll become a licensed practitioner. I want to say that there are many licensed practitioners, and we're going to talk a little bit about what they do in a minute. But the licensed practitioners, we have several in the church, and we have several that are off the island. In our weekly email, there is a list of practitioners, people that can have a session, and we're going to talk about session in a minute, that can talk to you and help you. And that can be in person, that can be online, via Zoom, that can be by the phone. And so look in your email list. If that's something that's calling you, that you have a situation you want to talk with someone that's really studied and practicing this, take advantage of that. So what does a practitioner do? Well, you've seen them every Sunday. They come up here and either a practitioner or a minister or a reverend doctor practitioner minister will come up and light the peace candle, or Patrick will light it for them, and they'll give a treatment for peace in within each one of us, for peace on this island, in our community, in the world. And then after a beautiful song is sung by our musicians, they'll be asked a question. I like to think of it as Stump the Practitioner, but it's not really. It's an opportunity to share how this philosophy has impacted your life, how you have changed your thinking and a situation, a scenario, a belief system has changed and benefited your life. They're also available after they do the Thanksgiving for the beautiful offerings that are received here. They're also available after service for a quickie treatment. It's not going to be a full session. It's going to be, I'm having a real hard time balancing my checkbook, or I don't really feel well, or it's just something that you can have a quick treatment, not a long, drawn-out conversation with it. But that's available every Sunday. They also are in absolute service to this CSL Kauai community. They're here to serve all of us. All of us. Before I go into what a session is about, I just want to say how amazing these women, thank you, DJ, for that. What a dedication, what commitment, what amazing gifts they are to this center and this community. So what is a session? How many of you have had a session before? Anybody in here? Yeah, good. So most of you are pretty familiar, and some of you aren't. So I'm going to kind of just go over a little bit what a session is. It's a meeting between a licensed practitioner and someone that has an issue or a need or a concern that needs to be resolved. Again, it can be face-to-face, by Zoom, by phone. You know, in today's environment, we do a lot of Zoom things. There's always a discussion when someone calls, there's a discussion that there's a fee. It's a $75 fee for a 1-hour session with a licensed practitioner. In the session, the practitioner will welcome you, make you feel comfortable, handle the dollar signs, and then the session is opened with a time of quieting our minds, of centering our minds, of bringing spirit into, spirit's already there, I don't mean that it's outside and we invite them in the front door, but bringing the idea of spirit into the session. Then you, the client, me, the client, we're going to be asked, tell me what's going on. What's happening? How can I help you today? Something like that. And you're going to be able to share everything you want. And I'm going to guarantee right now that it's 100% confidential. The only thing that might be shared, if you're going to tell me you're going to commit suicide, I have to, by law, report that. Only thing that's legally has to be reported. Everything else is absolutely confidential. The practitioner will spend some time listening intently. Some of the things that are learned in our classes is how to listen, how to hear what's happening and what's really there, and to discover what's the underlying cause. What's the underlying thinking? What's the underlying belief system that we need to replace with what the truth is? And the truth is we are perfect, we are whole, we are complete. You're going to hear me say that numerous times because that's the truth. We are. I like to think of practitioners as spiritual detectives. They kind of, just get in there, well, let's look at this, and just the facts, ma'am. Sorry, I'm old. I remember those days. Okay, Sharon, thanks for being with me there. So I'm going to share with you that recently I had a dream. And I was in the process of making a very difficult decision in my life. And I don't usually remember dreams. But in this one, I was standing in the ocean, and I kind of felt like it was in California, that long pier kind of thing in California. It didn't matter. About ankle deep in water, and a man was coming towards me, and I was terrified. I mean, absolutely unable to move with fear. And then it's like those masks that the snorkelers wear, the round ones that cover your whole face. I had that mask on, and it completely fogged up. I could see nothing. I could only feel that intense fear and confusion that I was feeling as I saw this man come. Then, just like that, the fog cleared, it disappeared, and the man walked up to me and he said, "Are you okay?" I tell you that dream because that's what I kind of think a practitioner does. We come in all foggy and scared and confused about something in our life, and a practitioner is going to say, "Let me help you remove the fog. Let me help you see the truth. Let me help you know that right here, right now, all is well." Thank you, Richard. Once that false belief can come through in our DNA, it can come through in our potty training, it can come through many, many ways that we can gain a belief system. But once that detective work is done, and we get to the core of what that is, it is the practitioner's privilege to replace that. Melissa had that list of old beliefs and the truth. That's our privilege. To say, that's maybe what you've believed for a long time, but this is your spiritual truth. You are a spiritual being. You have never been touched by any of this in your eternal life, which we are eternal beings. You are spiritual beings. You are perfect. You are whole. And everything is exactly as it's supposed to be right here, right now. The practitioner may assign a little homework. They may say, you're really having some trouble with finances, and I know that this is going to be completely worked out for you, but there's a spiritual economics class happening at CSL. I might recommend you think about taking that. Or they might offer an affirmation. I had a session recently, and I was kind of feeling insecure, and she goes, "You know what I want you to do? I want you to write, 'You are loved, you are loving, and you are lovable,' and put that on your refrigerator." Good reminder to me. Good homework. They might recommend a book or a class, or they might not. A practitioner is going to intuitively listen to spirit and intuitively know, I think this might help that person. Now, they're not going to share that happened to me last month. It's not about the practitioner. It's about you, and it's about how can we get you to see the reality and the truth of your life. The session is concluded with a beautiful spiritual mind treatment focused on whatever the truth that was revealed in that session. Again, I'm going to say the truth. You're perfect. You're whole. You're complete. You are one with Source. You are one with all of us, including the plants, and it's all one. It's all God. It's all one thing. So now I get to do the gong thing, and you guys get to play the answer the questions. Okay, are you ready? A Science of Mind practitioner is A, someone who goes online and gets a license for $49.95. Oh, you got, no, wait. Okay, a guru with a large following. Yeah, that's what I'm working on. Or B, C, a spiritual guide who engages in the art of healing the mind. Yay! Oh, I'm good at that. Woo-hoo. All right, true or false? A practitioner gives advice based on their own experience. No, not going to happen. And my last, gotcha. Being a practitioner requires a commitment to personal spiritual growth, participating in and graduating from an intense study program, a recognition that we are all perfect spiritual beings. D, all of the above. Yay! You guys are brilliant. So now it's my time to, let's see, I'm going to pick this one right here. Rita, what do we have another gift certificate to the bookstore. 081235. 235. Speak now or forever hold your peace. Oh, no, Glenn, it cannot be you. All right, Richard. Yay! Yay, yay, yay. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to set up a couple of chairs here. I need this. And we're going to do, does anybody watch Bull? Yeah, well, I don't have TV anymore, so I don't get to see it. But as I remember Bull, they do mock trials. So we're going to do a little mock session for you. And I'm going to ask DJ and Jamie to come. You want to bring that microphone? And we're going to do just a little bit of a mock session for you. Okay?
Okay, so I'm going to pretend that we're always when you do a session, it's a very private place that you do it, so nobody else. We're going to be doing this out in my garden. so, Jamie, welcome. Yeah.
Aloha, DJ.
It's so good to have you here.
Oh, thank
and
you.
We'll go ahead and keep socially distant and here outside, but we can still be close enough to connect. I appreciate you coming here today, and I feel really honored that that you chose me to do this session with you. Let me know if you need anything. Do you need a glass of water?
No,
to
I'm
use
fine.
the
Thank you
bathroom or
so much.
anything?
I
Okay.
appreciate that.
And thanks for paying online. I appreciated that. That was great. And so I usually start the session with a little invocation, just to kind of help us to both ground and be here. And then I'll just get to listen to you, maybe ask some questions or whatever. And then together we'll distill the purpose for the spiritual mind treatment. And then the last thing that I'll do is the spiritual mind treatment. And I like to sort of just end it with that feeling of that hopefully will be generated, for you as well. And so we won't really, like engage in a lot of conversation after that, so that you can just kind of hold that feeling as you travel home and that sort of thing. Is that what you were expecting? Or?
Absolutely. That sounds perfect. Thank
Okay,
you.
Great. So welcome to this beautiful garden space, and just take a deep breath and just know that that there is one always loving being or beingness in all of us, and that we have this sense in and through us of loving energy moving, and that we are one with this energy moving in and through us, just as it does through all of the beauty surrounding us, and that everything that needs to be known here today is known, and that everything that we need to feel and all the knowledge that needs to be brought forward, that there is comfort and relaxation and connection, and that we're grateful for this, and we're grateful for this time, and that I release my word as law, and so it is.
And so it is.
So tell me, what brought you here today?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for the time. I really do appreciate it. I've been feeling really scared, I think it is. A little scared. I just feel like I am surrounded by this insurmountable debt that just doesn't seem to go away, and I just want it gone. You know, it doesn't feel good, and I want to feel good. And I'm hoping that this session will help bring some clarity or change something, and I need it to be gone, and I want it gone as soon as possible.
Yeah, so the weight, it just doesn't feel good, the
No.
stress of it.
Exactly. It is very stressful. It is scary. You know, I don't know what to do. I feel lost, and it's affecting many areas of my life, my relationship, my work. It's just something that I don't need anymore. I want it gone. I want to be happy. I want to be carefree. I want to be able to not have to manage it so much. I want to be able to just live my life and enjoy it and not have to worry so much and just be done with it.
Yeah, so I hear you. It's affecting your life in a way that doesn't feel good. Yeah, and you're feeling like you're having to control it yourself, and yet, are you feeling a bit out of control with it? You're saying
Absolutely.
that the fear feels.
Yes. It feels like it's out of control. It feels like no matter what I do, it keeps growing. Like I feel like I'm paying a ton of it, and I'm like, there's no possible way I'm spending all of this money. Like, how is that possible when I look at my credit card bill? It's not like I'm living a life of luxury, you know? So it's just, it's very confusing. It's very confusing. Yeah.
And you were saying it was affecting your relationship too.
Because there's some blame, you know? Like, it's not just my debt. I mean, my partner. And so it's like, I want to blame somebody.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I want to blame somebody
Yeah.
because I feel like I'm working hard at it. And it just creates some pressure and some tension in our relationship. It doesn't feel like a free flow of love, like what it should be. And it's unnecessary, and it just, like I said, it just needs to be gone and gone ASAP.
Great. Well, together we'll kind of distill what you would like to have their treatment about.
Yeah.
And so when I hear you say that you're afraid and tense, so you'd like to have a sense of ease, and
Absolutely.
and of trust.
Absolutely. I want to feel like I don't have to manage it anymore, that it's just taken care of, that I'm always cared for, I want to know that I'm always cared for, and that it is not something I have to work at, that it is just easy and graceful.
And kind of like that the universe has your back.
Absolutely.
That it's not, you don't have to think about every little move, but, maybe that you're guided with what to do, because otherwise, you're having to figure it out, but you want just a sense of the knowledge is just coming through you, and you know.
Exactly. I
Yep.
want to know that there is I want to know that the universe is conspiring in my favor. I
Very
want to
good.
know that the flow is coming in my life whenever I need it, exactly as I need it. And I don't have to do anything but need it, and then it appears.
Okay.
That's what I want.
Good.
Yeah.
I got that. Yeah. So that feeling of that everything is, coming your way, that and for you that you just will be a vessel for this to flow through, that you'll actually feel that divine energy moving through you, and knowing that you don't have to figure every little thing about how you're going to make the money or how the debts are going to, but that it just all is coming through.
Yeah.
And that you just are trusting and going with it. And that's what I
Yeah,
think.
I love this idea of trust that you're talking about. That's what I want. I want to trust and have a deep faith and not, and not feel guilty when I spend something, when I buy something for myself. And I want to feel like I have enough that I can give to others, like I can provide for my family, provide for my children, give to the organizations that I think are doing good work. Like I want to be able to share in that. I want to feel abundant. That's it. I want to feel abundant.
Right, because right now not only are you feeling like you don't have enough, but you want to. You not only want to just have enough, but you want to have extra. You want to have a feeling of that you have plenty for being generous.
Yes.
Not only to your children, but your family, your extended family, and causes that you feel like you'd like to support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Great. So, so I'm geared up now to do the
I know.
treatment for you.
I feel like I'm already feeling, just talking to you about it and thinking about all of these things that I want. Like I can feel it already. Like it already
Yeah.
starts to feel a little better.
Yeah, it's
like
amazing.
I feel like I wasn't even scared for like the last few minutes, which is really nice. It's
Yeah,
really nice. It's a
yes.
relief.
Yeah.
I want that feeling to stay.
Yeah, and that's all what it's all about, is that, doing the spiritual mind treatment, but even just in working up to it, it's changing your thoughts and just really having that clarity of what you do want, and then the trust that you will be getting it. So, I really appreciate your statements of clarity, because I get it. I'm right there with you. And then, and even some people have said to me, like, well, I'm not sure I can, I have that trust, well, maybe right this second, but what happens out, and that when I'm not trusting, and that, so it's okay that you might not have that trust, but I have that trust for you. And if you can trust that I have the trust, then
Yes.
then that will help to just,
I can.
because a thought, it doesn't have to be necessarily your thought. It can be my thought can change something in the universe, like
Oh, good, thank God, 'cause-
quantum physics or whatever, that it can make those
Yeah.
changes. And if you can at least trust that I do have that trust, and I do feel it bubbling up more in you too, that, and so that then after the treatment, then you can just allow that to come up, and maybe as a homework assignment or whatever, every time you do feel the fear, or you're wanting to blame, just go back and, whoa, it's not their fault, it's not even my fault, it's an opportunity to switch over and to trust, and that's what really faith is, because faith is being willing to trust in what we can't see, and so it's a, that this opportunity that you have now, you might think, well, why am I having this? But this could be a very good time for you to really focus on more trust in your life and a lot of things. And so it might have just come to a head so that you could have this opportunity to have a more
I
trusting,
think I can do that.
appreciative
Yeah.
life. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I can do that. At least I can. I knowing and feeling that trust. I don't know if I can hold that all the time, but I feel like I can trust that you do. So I can do that. I can do that.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so are you comfortable to move into the treatment
I
now?
am. I think
Okay.
that was everything. Thank you.
I know there is one loving, eternal energy that flows through all of life and flows through me. And with that loving energy, I create my desires. And I know that just as I am one eternal being that loves and trusts and feels richly abundant and knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that the universe has my back, that the universe is here for me. This is my universe. This is my life. And everything is here in support of it. And just as I know this is so true for me, I know this is true for Jamie too. That this love, that this abundance, that this relaxation into knowing that I have everything I want, everything I need, and even more, that I have so much financial abundance that I can give to others. I can give to my children what they want and need, and more. I can give to my community. I can give to my church. I can give to the people out there that I know are in need. And this is my joy. This is my joy to be able to do that. And to know in my body, in every cell of my being, that I trust, I believe, I know that this is available to me, and I know that this is available to Jamie as well. And I am thankful. I am so grateful. I am just bubbling over with gratitude to feel this, to know this, to trust this. And I am so grateful that this gratitude is a creative energy, that just being in this wonderful feeling of gratitude is what helps create everything that I want. And that this beautiful feeling of gratitude feels good in my body, and it helps me to relax and to just know that the universe, everything is in support of me. All this beauty I see around me is in support of me. All the companionship and every aspect of this, these teachings are supporting me to have what I want. And just as I know that this gratitude is good for me, I know that this gratitude is available to Jamie as well. And I let this go. I just let this go into the universe and just totally trust that it is done. And I release my word as law. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so much, DJ.
Okay, so now we're going to have the grand prize drawing. So unless there was anything, did I miss anything? Was there anything else that was?
Well, we have models for the grand prize.
Oh, okay. If Glenn, would you be willing to stand up? And both of you, you don't get the matching hat, but you will get the T-shirt, the beautiful new purple T-shirt.
And not only the T-shirt, but Glenn and Marion will be going home.
All righty then. So I will scoop up the tickets. Who is our grand prize winner? Is 081243. Yeah, Emma! Woohoo! Okay. You just felt so, you were just trusting so much that, yeah. Well, so we're going to have a...
I did his and hers.
So we are going to have a closing treatment.
We're going to come up right now.
Oh, okay. So you're going to come up? Okay. All right. So I'd like to introduce Reverend Rita and Reverend Patrick, for those of you who may not know them.
I find that hard to believe.
Anyway, can we just give them
Oh,
such
my
gratitude?
God.
Yay.
Wow.
And Melissa, is she still with us? No, she's out there. Anyway, oh.
Yeah, and class Melissa comes on. We start class at 4, and it's 9 there, and then and it'll be 10 when. So it's quite a
Right.
commitment.
So
Thank you.
they kind of covered it, but they're going to be going into their final licensing exam at the end of April, and then they'll do their panels this summer. So it's quite a process, and I'm really proud of them. This is a very special group, They are,
Yes.
and I think you just saw how special they are. And they got me all inspired for remembering what I do and why I do it. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And on Sunday, I just want to share a dream I had with you. I had this hat.
That was the best.
Because I will be using that metaphor of how cloudy it can be in our life, and then all of a sudden it's clear, and they're coming up just to ask, what? How are you? How
that
are
was
you
beautiful.
doing? Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think everybody
Yeah,
thinks-
no, we just wanted a moment just to be able to really marinate, my favorite word, marinate, and just what an enjoyable morning you put together. And what was so great for Rita and I, we micromanaged not even 1 second of this thing. I kept saying every Thursday, what do you need? What do you need from mom and dad? What do you need from mom and dad?
Yeah, they did it already.
Nada.
And this morning
And
he's
so
like,
it's-
do they have this and this? And I said, I don't know. They didn't ask for it. So I
And,
don't
and
know.
they come in. So it's teaching us a very valuable lesson as well, that the kids are just fine on their own. They just are.
You did great.
Great.
Thank you so much.
And thank you all for coming.
Yeah,
Yes?
thank you for coming and supporting them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just going to say thank you very much for the inspiration it gives us for understanding and believing it is what
Yeah.
I really appreciated the opening when you talked about Johnny Coleman, and this is Black History Month.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Starting her own church, and there is a woman, or was a woman in Atlanta, Reverend Barbara King, 6'6".
Yeah.
She and Johnny Coleman both went to the village to Unity. This was Unity. She was a member of the Unity Church that I was in for so many years and was music director. And Johnny Coleman and Barbara King both went to the village to study, and it was the times they were not allowed to stay at the village because they were African American. I don't know, and that shows you that we're all growing because we've grown, to another place, and because of that, the two of them, Barbara King in Atlanta and Johnny Coleman in Chicago, started their own New Thought church, and they grew to huge churches. So I thought that was an interesting. I knew
Right.
Dr. King and Dr. Barbara, and I went to classes at her church. I didn't attend her church, but I just, that to me was like a demonstration of they let something that was really, insulting and not in New Thought consciousness, move them to the point where they started their own church. And I'm talking big churches. Barbara King's church was Hillside Truth Center that was on the Cascade community in Atlanta. So it was good to see all of those churches and those New Thought movements showing how they all grew from the teachings of Emma Curtis Hopkins. So thank you for that.
Yeah, there's people that are online too. One of the things that was important is it's still an assignment that they have for their class, but the most important thing that I think even after 9 years, that science of mind is really one of the best unkept secrets and I still do not believe that this island we have even scratched to allow people to know what it is, and what we have always said is that it's not about, are you going to come here on a Sunday, you're going to come here on in the classes, but what I never want before our day is done and we pass this torch on, I never want it to be, I never knew there was a Science of Mind Center here, and we still hear that. I had no idea that you were here. We are a global community. We have an incredible support system and a backing from the mainland all over and internationally. And so because of Rob and this wonderful, live streaming, they're able to check in every week. And it means a lot to them because we know it, because when something goes wrong with it, they're like, what am I going to do? Help, because this has been our connection during the COVID, whatever we want to call it, the COVID world. This has been a connection that without this, I'm not sure we would be standing here today without connecting our community through live streaming. because, we weren't able to be together.
So thank you for Rob. Woohoo!
All right, so now we'll call up our beautiful, beautiful,
Well, let them finish.
oh, I thought they were.
Only if anybody had any questions. I forgot about the questions. Does anybody have any questions or comments? That was really beautiful what you shared. Thank you for that. And I'm glad it is Black History Month. Yes. Okay.
And this brings a smile to my face. And I really want to share this with you, and I wish that Melissa was listening, because this is really about her. And in the beginning, when I first got into Science of Mind, really wanted to know more. And so we had this little session, and I think it was you, Sue, and Melissa, and myself, and I don't know if Peggy Jari was there, but we would get together, and we had Peggy Price come and tell us about something, and we were supposed to read something, from the Science of Mind. And Rita came in to give us a little blurb. It was like a 15-minute thing. And the question, we got stumped with the question, and that's the reason why I think we didn't go forward, because it was just like a question. It's like, what is the law? It's like, what is the law? And none of us was able to kind of understand, well, what is the law? How does that work? And so I think we just kind of left it open, and we continued to come to here. And now I see how Melissa has grown and understood and how to use it. And it's just mind in action. It's just really, really good to see the progress and how we can get to understand and use it ourselves. So that was really, Melissa, that's terrific.
Anybody else have any other questions or comments?
Oh, Melissa's here somehow. Yeah. She's here somehow.
Do you remember that?
Yeah. Well, I guess if nobody has any more questions or comments, then we'll have someone who's going to lead us in a... Roseanne. Oh, sorry. It's going to...
I left you at the beautiful...
He's going to close the official part of the thing. There's still refreshments, and so thank you again for joining us.
Well, it's so great to see the children coming along and joining the ranks. And again, mahalo for all of the explanations. And it was a reminder for me. So thank you. Mahalo to all of you. And so knowing this at this very moment, absorbing, knowing the truth, taking that truth with each of us, going out into the world, and knowing that we're walking in the truth at each and every moment. We're breathing this truth of who and what we are. And it's so great, it's so glorious. It's more than we even imagined until we went deep into this truth and philosophy. So knowing that we take it with us, each of us, and we can change our lives by that simple truth of changing our thinking. It is so beautiful. It has affected so many people throughout the world, knowing that we can make a difference in our lives and each and every person's life that we meet. So let's go do it. Take it into the world and take this beautiful, beautiful philosophy wherever we go. So I release this word as we say together. And so it is.